before that, we did have an executive session before the meeting this evening where we talked about litigation, personnel, and real estate matters. The rules, we read this every meeting for the public comment, which is next on the agenda, is you can make public comment if you are either a resident or a taxpayer in the township. If you want to make public comment, please raise your hand until you're recognized. You'll have 3 minutes to make your comments. Once you have 15 seconds left, I will advise you of that and ask you to complete your comments. For comments, please come up to the mic, take a seat, state your name and address so that we can take that down for the minutes. Turn on the mic and face the board to make your comments. Please understand this is not a debate session, it is just for comments. And this is not a place for abusive language or profanity. We ask you, the audience, to refrain from crying out or being disruptive. If you refuse to comply with these rules and are disruptive to the meeting, we will ask you to leave. Thank you.
Okay, that said, are there any public comments on the agenda items?
My name's Matt Murray. I'm 1530 Aspen Drive. To get a better understanding of the budget, I added up all the bill lists for the year, and then I added in the wages for all the township employees. And those two things alone show that the township spent $1.5 million more than the 2023 budget projected revenue. Where is that deficit reflected in the 2024 budget? And how did the January 1st fund balance increase by $3 million? Is that shown in the budget? Okay, so legal costs. Legal costs were budgeted in 2023 were $95,000. But when totaled from the bill list, they were closer to $400,000. That's more than 10% of the entire township expenses. Don Reed is quoted in an article he wrote. He said the majority of the board, that's 1, 2, 3, the majority of the board shares the resolve to continue fighting irrespective of the associated legal costs. I mean, where does that leave the taxpayers? That doesn't leave them in a good place. You state the township is debt-free. However, the past 2 budgets, you've transferred open space tax revenue back to the general fund. This is almost $500,000, including $48,000 in interest charge. You categorize it as sewer sale debt repay and per debt repayment schedule. You said paying off the open space debt entitled to use the property as you wish. The truth is, you didn't pay off the debt. You simply changed the lender from Fulton Bank to yourself. I mean, I asked for a copy of the debt repayment schedule 3 times. I was told every time, it doesn't exist. Are there legal documents that do exist? I mean, is there a promissory note like a normal loan would have? Is what you're doing even legal? I mean, did you check with the DCED? I mean, Ordinance 425 was repaid with open space tax revenues from 2009 to 2013 before it was refinanced. But regarding that, you say no open space funds were used. Ordinance 425 was a $2.5 million bond that financed the money that purchased Smalla Farm in 2008. You can't have it both ways, and you better stop spending money on legal fees.
Okay, we will move on to approval of the minutes.
Yeah, there may be one more public comment, sorry.
Yes.
Is this the right opportunity to talk about Artesian? Make a comment?
But no, there's no, on the public comments at the end, you
Yeah.
can talk about
Okay,
that.
thank
Okay, moving on to approval of minutes. Approval of minutes were in your packet. I need a motion on the minutes. Hearing a motion to approve the minutes, or a second?
will second.
Here in a second, discussion. Thank you. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. In your packet also is payment of bills. I need a motion on the bills.
Could you use the microphone, please? You're a little hard to hear.
And a motion, I need a motion on the bills.
I just want to say one thing, the open space one, I questioned the figure of $40,000 and Eric explained to me with the $40,000.
Could you turn up the mic, please? And repeat what you just said? We couldn't get it.
Yes, for the bill list, I questioned the $40,000 payment out to the title company. And we talked about it earlier, and it's actually an escrow. We're gonna put it in escrow so we can tear the building down at the Keel property.
Thanks, Dave. Any more? So I need the motion.
Make a motion.
Excuse me, sir, could you repeat that? We can't hear you back here.
Hearing the motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Hearing a second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Against? Motion carries. Reports. Township Administration Financial Reports. Michelle?
Good evening, board. My admin report is in your packet. Just wanna draw your attention to, all that we have going on both in the planning and zoning departments. We have a lot of sketch plans, not a lot of official plan submissions on the book. We have a lot of zoning hearing board and other zoning related matters. Also in your packet is the November 30th, 2023 financial report, which does include updated entries for the CRIM account, which is the Cash Reserve Investment Management account. And also, I'm happy to report that the stormwater project on Pine Ford Road is substantially complete, and you will see an item on your bill list later in the agenda for that matter. Any questions? I'll be happy to answer them.
Questions for Township Manager? Thanks, Michelle. Chief of Police, Jim.
Good evening, Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. I'd just like to highlight a couple things. One was community outreach that the officers participated in for the month of November, December. Those included Coffee with a Cop, which was hosted by Lower Pottsgrove at the Brookside Family Restaurant. Officers also participated in Community Day at Hopewell Community Church. We also did shop with the first responder with the fire company and local law enforcement agencies. And the fire company was nice enough to invite us to arrest the Grinch for the Santa run. The other thing I'd like to highlight is we still continue to take a lot of fraud, identity theft investigations. If you know anyone who thinks they may need help with that, or if they think they're being scammed, have them call the police department and we can discuss whether individuals are trying to get money from them inappropriately.
Questions for Chief? Okay, thanks, Jim. Public Works, Chad?
Good evening, Commissioners. Happy to report that the Pine Ford Road Stormwater Project is complete and it worked really well. Given these recent rains, we had no issues out there. Everything looks good. Later this week, we will have a contractor and do some paving work at the Cecil Park Trailhead. That's part of the grant project that we've been working on. That's it.
Questions for Public Works?
Yes.
Well, the public comments and questions for you at the end.
Trace, I do have just a quick question, comment. In your Public Works report, I always notice that the amount of maintenance you do on vehicles. I know we spoke about this the other day. And one of the reasons, you guys save us a lot of money doing that. And I know that I think I talked to Jeannie the other day, other townships usually have like a commercial agreement with a dealership. And everybody knows you're changing your oil these days, it's $100. And all the little stuff you do adds up to big stuff, and we do appreciate it. Thank you.
Other questions? Comments? Township Solicitor, Eric.
No report.
Engineer, you do have the two engineer reports in your packet. Are there, Michelle, anything to add?
Just, just my usual comment to pay attention to the zoning issues, on page 6 of the planning and zoning report from Paul. Just in the event we would need to move forward with any citations. Again, the township does try to work with property owners, so we don't have to go that route, but sometimes we do because we don't get cooperation.
Questions? Thanks, Michelle. Tax collector. Nothing for tax collector, and the report is in your packet. Committee chair reports. Open space, Greg?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. The Open Space Board did not meet in December. Our next meeting will be January 9th. Invite everybody to come out if they want to see what we have going on this coming year.
Questions for open space? Fire and ambulance. Don?
You should have the numbers report in your packets. I also handed out my additional report. One thing I do want to mention, we had our Santa run this past Saturday. It's always a big effort, and I have also found out we're one of the very few last companies that actually Santa will get off the bat at every driveway if there's a child out there. Our Santas get out and talk to the children, get pictures with them. I know Norco, Pottstown, they put the Santa on top of a fire engine and whoop around the township real quick. So we keep it to a very personal level with the township. And I've heard so many thanks about that this past weekend. It felt really good. So I just want to pass that on.
Thanks, Don. Questions?
I just wanna, thank Matt Galamba, our fire chief. Again, we had what we thought might be a potential issue with fire hydrants in a development in the township, and I called him, and he got here as soon as he could and took a fire truck out, tested the hydrants, and found out that there was water. So I just want to thank Matt personally because he didn't hesitate to come out when I called him.
Thank you. I didn't know that.
Thanks, Don. Old business, starting from number 8